I'll never forget the moment Sarah Thompson's Tesla Charger erupted in a shower of sparks, its acrid smoke curling into the night sky. The piercing wail of her car's alarm shattered the stillness of our quiet suburban street at 3 a.m. She came sprinting out of her immaculate colonial home, her designer pajamas flapping, her face a mask of pure panic. Then she saw me standing there, arms crossed, cool as a cucumber next to her smoldering Charger. The heavy-duty extension cord she'd snaked from my outdoor outlet to her Tesla was still warm in my hand. "What the hell did you do?" she screeched, her voice bouncing off the cul-de-sac's manicured lawns. I didn't flinch. I just held up my phone, the screen glowing with a meticulous log of every stolen kilowatt. "Hope that free charge was worth it," I said, a slow grin spreading across my face. Right on cue, red and blue lights lit up the street like a 4th of July show. A police cruiser rolled up behind her sleek Tesla, and Sarah's face went from red to ghostly white. She realized, right then and there, that her HOA queen crown wasn't going to save her this time. Let me back up. I moved into Willow Creek about a year ago, drawn by the pristine lawns, the eco-friendly VYB, and the promise of a tight-knit community. The HOA fees were brutal, but the perks community gardens, solar incentives, fancy playgrounds seemed worth it. What the realtor conveniently left out was that our HOA was ruled by Sarah Thompson, a woman who wielded her president's badge like a scepter. She was the kind of person who'd fine you for a slightly overgrown hedge, but turn a blind eye to her own rule-breaking if it suited her. My trouble started when I installed solar panels on my roof. I dotted every I, crossed every T permits, HOA approval, the works. Sarah fought me tooth and nail, whining that the panels were an eyesore, even though you could barely see them from the street. I didn't get it at first. Aesthetics? Please. It wasn't until later I realized she was just green with envy, literally. I was generating my own power while she was shelling out big bucks to juice up her Tesla Model X, which she drove around like it was a Nobel Prize for SAVYing the planet. 3 months after my panels went up, I noticed something weird. My power bill was way higher than it should have been. With my solar setup, I was supposed to be practically off the grid, especially in summer. But my smart home system kept flagging these bizarre power spikes in the dead of night, when everything in my house was off. I couldn't figure it out until my phone pinged one Thursday night with an alert from my security system. Someone was messing with the outdoor outlet on the side of my house, the one facing Sarah's property. I pulled up the camera feed and nearly dropped my phone. There she was, Sarah, in her silk pajamas and overpriced slippers, plugging a beefy extension cord in my outlet. She traced it back to her driveway, where her Tesla sat, humming happily, hooked up through some sketchy inverter. This wasn't a one-off. My footage showed she'd been at it 3 times a week for 2 months straight. The timestamps matched the power surges perfectly. By my math, she'd siphon off nearly due law 400 worth of electricity and she wasn't slowing down. The next morning, I marched over to her house, clutching printouts of the footage and power logs. Sarah answered the door in her HOA blazer, looking like she was about to chair a congressional hearing. "Can I help you?" she said, her voice dripping with fake sweetness, her eyes flicking to the papers in my hand. "Yeah," I said, keeping my cool. "We need to talk about why you've been stealing power from my house to charge your Tesla." Her face cycled through shock, guilt, and finally outrage. "That's absurd," she snapped, while VYing me off like I was a pesky fly. "I've never touched your outlets." I handed her the photos. She scanned them, her jaw tightening. "This proves nothing," she said, VYing them back at me. "Besides, we're on the same neighborhood grid. It's basically communal power. Your solar panels were approved to benefit the community, you know." I blinked, stunned. "That's not how electricity or private property works. Sarah, stop it, and pay me back for what you've taken." She smirked, folding her arms. "Drop this, or I'll bring it up at the next HOA meeting. Harassing a board member comes with hefty fines." Sure enough, 3 days later, a letter arrived from the HOA, accusing me of creating a hostile VY in environment and slandering a board member. 5 of the 7 board members, Sarah's loyal cronies, had signed it. They threatened to do law 1,000 fine if I kept misbehave VYing. That's when I decided to stop playing nice. I called up my buddy Jake, an electrician who's a wizard with smart home systems. We rigged my outdoor outlet with a custom circuit breaker that tracked every watt drawn and by what. The kicker? It had a surge protector that would trip if someone, say, Tesla pulled too much power. Everything was legal, documented, and HOA compliant. I even slapped a little sign next to the outlet. Monitored outlet. Authorized use only. Then I waited. It took 4 days. At 2:15 a.m., my phone buzzed. Someone was at again. I watched the live feed as Sarah hooked up her cord, smirking like she'd outsmarted me. She glanced at my sign, rolled her eyes, and sauntered back to her house. 30 seconds later, my system clocked her Tesla guzzling power. The smart circuit kicked in, sending a precise surge through the line just enough to fry her charger's delicate electronics. Sparks flew, her breaker tripped, and half her house went dark. Her Tesla's alarm screamed, waking the whole street. It was beautiful. By 7 a.m., Sarah was pounding on my door, her face beet red. "You sabotaged my car," she yelled, not caring who heard. "I'm calling the cops. I'm suing you. The HOA will bury you." I leaned against the door frame, calm as ever. "Sarah, you're confused. Someone was stealing my electricity last night. My system just protected my property." I held up my phone, showing the logs, the VYDO, the power data. "I've got every instance of your theft documented. The utility company and the police have my reports." Her bravado crumbled. "You can't prove anything," she stammered, but the fight was gone from her voice. "Oh, I can," I said. "The cops told me to install this setup after my first report. Power theft's a felony here, you know." Right then, a police cruiser pulled into my driveway. 2 officers stepped out, one holding a warrant. "Mrs. Thompson," the taller one said, not even pretending he didn't know her, "we're here to inspect your property for utility theft and tampering." Sarah's mouth flapped uselessly. "This is outrageous. I'm the Willow Creek HOA president." The officer didn't blink. "We'll also need to impound your vehicle as EVY Denke." Neighbors started peeking out, drawn by the commotion. Sarah's perfect image was unraveling. The cops found her modified charger, the extension cord, and here's the kicker: similar setups she'd used to leech power from other neighbors. In her home office, they uncovered records showing she'd billed the HOA for her home charging station while stealing the juice. They cuffed her right there, charging her with grand theft, property damage, and HOA fraud. The HOA meeting the next week was standing room only. Sarah's ousting was unanimous, and the new president, my neighbor Tom, handed me a check covering my legal fees and damages. Sarah got 18 months of probation, 300 hours of community service, and a due law $15,000 restitution order. The judge made her sell her precious Tesla to pay her fines. As they led her away, her face was pure fury, like she couldn't fathom her actions catching up with her. So what do you think? Was I wrong to fry her charger, or was Sarah begging for a wake-up call? Should I have just let the cops handle it from the start? Or was a little VY Gilani justice fair game? And what about the HO? How do you deal with a tyrant like that without burning it all down? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button if your team, no free rides, and subscribe for more wild neighborhood sagas.